Thank you, Madam Speaker. This morning, the National Inquiry into Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls released their report. Many of those calls for justice we've been hearing here in Manitoba for decades. This is our collective history, and it is imperative that the voices of the inquiry are not treated like so many other reports and tossed aside or left to moulder and get dusty. Will the Premier immediately organise a committee to review and implement the recommendation of today's MMIWG report?
The Honourable First Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the comments from the member opposite, and I know that he is sincere in wanting to see positive outcomes from the work that was undertaken in this inquiry, as are we. We continue to be committed to breaking down the barriers that exist for Indigenous women and girls to receive the support, the encouragement that they deserve. And I have earlier expressed my sincere appreciation on behalf of our government for the tremendous amount of work and effort that went into the committee's work, and also to the families specifically who shared their perspectives, which we have the opportunity now to benefit from. And I say to the member opposite, thank you for raising the issue.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's clear from the Premier's 3 years of inaction and non-answers that he would much rather prefer to be in opposition than governing. We're looking forward to putting the Premier back where he belongs. Over the past 3 years, this government has taken 3 steps back for every step forward when it comes to justice. There's a stack of reports making it clear that when you build housing and create jobs, it helps prevent crime. Yet this government has left $400 million in housing funds from the federal government untouched. Community supports for homeless and youth have been cancelled. When are they planning to issue the RFP to give them another plan they won't follow to deal with safety in our communities?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, I can only take from the preamble of the member opposite, Madam Speaker, that he's ready to go for an election and anxious to go to the people with his particular brand of vision, which involves and is not limited to higher taxes for people who commute to work, no resource development in the north, and Madam Speaker, a total disregard for the respect that should have been shown to Jody Wilson-Raybould, Jane Philpott, for example, within the Liberal caucus. These things, Madam Speaker, are not indications of a member's real vision, and I would encourage the member to work hard on getting some ideas before he runs out to the doors. We have those ideas. Treaty Land Entitlement Resolution, where none was occurring under the NDP, reconciliation strategies, duty to consult framework, Northern Healthy Foods Initiative, Operation Return Home, to get people back to their communities that the NDP left languishing in the city of Winnipeg. These are progressive actions this government's taken. The member shouldn't disrespect them.
The member's time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a final supplementary.
The member's time certainly has expired. Yes, Madam Speaker, let's talk about what this government has done. The Pallister government has announced a pittance for police forces while slashing funding into municipalities, undermining the police. This government created institutional safety officers while slashing funding to the hospitals and universities that would hire them. They continue to tear Indigenous families apart through their dismal CFMS and justice systems and refuse to come to the table to negotiate. And now they've issued an RFP for a review of the Police Services Act. Who better to rejig our entire police act than another accounting firm? Can the Premier explain to Manitobans how it is possible the Treasury Board can review municipal planning and property development, however poorly, in 2 weeks, when their entire Justice Department can't review a single act?
The Honourable First Minister.
Perhaps the member can explain to the House how $1 billion of additional investment in child and family services, education and health care constitutes a slash of anything. We've invested more than any previous government in the history of Manitoba in each of those 3 compassionate departments, and we are doing so with effective outcomes being the goal. And we are achieving effective improvements in outcomes. But let's go back to the Indigenous actions. Investments to support internet services that have never existed in some communities until this government came in and instituted those progressive changes in northern Manitoba. Manitoba First Nations, mineral development protocols. The NDP says leave it in the ground. Good luck going door to door in Flin Flon with that. No wonder the member's grumpy over there from Flin Flon. First Nations highway signage programs to identify traditional First Nations names on the highway signs. Elder protocol. I know the members
Order.
of the NDP don't like this, Madam Speaker, but they should recognize the truth of it. This government has focused on these initiatives, build better relationships with First Nations communities and leadership, and those leaders know it, and these members opposite know it too.